idealizer, the visionary, the director, or just the person who has an idea, has something to say, something nice to say. Taran, with your experience, you've based out of Australia, you had a post-production company, an award-winning post-production company that does all these VFX and you create everything out of nothing mostly. And also you take human stories and you take live action cinema and then add your own magic to it. What has been your experience like? Talk to us about this whole thing. What Seedance did was Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. The whole world was like, what the hell? If they can do this, then what will happen to filmmaking if they can do it with the biggest stars? So one, I would like to know, will the actors get redundant in the times to come? I mean, it's a tricky, very unpleasant thing to even imagine. But if AI can even create their own actors, and those actors, the AI, what do you call them? They do not sleep. They work 24 hours. They would be here for next 100 years. An actor ages, an actor exhausts himself. An actor may not want to do that project that you would use your AI avatar of that actor to use in any kind of storyline. So tell us about your perspective. Give us about the Far Eastern perspective, what Australia has learned, what have been your key learnings in the last 20 years that you've been doing this, and also talk to us about Christopher Nolan and James Cameron, who are very, very admittedly so against AI. And they've been a part of the Members Guild, that went on strike for over 100 days, that literally cost $1 billion of money to Hollywood, but they won ultimately. So in a way, they have won the case against AI. We right now in this part of the world are still struggling. What next? What to do? Tell us your perspective.
Well, hello everyone, and I'll answer that question. It's a very dangerous question to ask, actually. I feel like if I answer it honestly, which I will, I might get myself into trouble, but that's okay. Look, I think I agree with so much of what everyone is saying is true, and with our experience, like I've been working in AI in the creative field since probably COVID times, and I remember the first stories we started to make. We saw the possibilities of the early Gen AI models, and we started, which now have dated very quickly, but like at the time it was like wow when we started creating stories. And now to your question, as recently as this week, people are seeing Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt on a building. When you step back and look at that picture, it actually goes for 30 seconds, and it's not really as good as Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. But it does split my personality in two. So from a technical perspective, I think, wow. And because I understand the technical achievement and actually the artistry to create that image. A lot has gone in that. And in fact, when I say a lot, I mean a lot. A lot of people, a lot of genius, a lot of technical capabilities. And it is artistry and it is creativity in itself. At the same time, I think all of us, like, and when you ask me from the Australian perspective, my initial reaction is I can't really speak for everyone in Australia, but maybe I can a little bit in the sense that the general vibe, and I think it's probably true for a lot of parts of the world, is people don't like AI. People are fearful of AI, and people, it's a little bit, like it's changing, definitely. I think as people get more accustomed to it. And, I've been playing with AI before I was in a room like this. So for me, being in a room like this, talking about AI is a wonderful part of my journey with it. But I think deep down there's something happening on a subconscious level. And people almost, on the face of things, that fear of AI and that dislike of AI, and people have heard the terms of AI slop, and I would suggest the Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt as it is the most advanced picture, Seedance coming out at the moment, but it still falls under the category of slop, I think, because it's not a film. It's definitely not a 90-minute film, and I'd like to see them try, because I've tried to make a 5-minute film, and it's possible, but near impossible. So I think what we're all actually adverse to is we all want craft. We want good. We want proof that what we're watching or what we're hearing or what we're seeing or what we're reading is genuine and is actually coming from a genuine place. And I think to the point of what some of the comments previously are. Look, I think ultimately what we know is, and I've learnt this too late in my life. I wish I learned it earlier, because I probably would have created greater works. And even in the knowledge of knowing this, I haven't been able to create as great works as I would imagine having this knowledge. To put it in, the knowledge into practice is much harder, is to actually have something to say on this planet to everyone in this room. And it sounds simple, and everyone says a lot. We all talk a lot. And we all have a lot of opinions on a lot of things, but it's not the same thing as having something to say. And having something to say, and and the poet would understand, you have to dig very deep. And it's a cliche, but you hear poets and you hear true artists say, I had to go to that place and find that thing and pull it out of me. And I don't think most people really understand how to do that or what it takes to do that. But I do think on a subconscious level, we know it when we see it, because it moves us emotionally. And that's the thing where and so what I would argue is that's the version of slop. So I've seen AI which moves me, and we can talk about that later, but it's coming from a different place, and it's not coming from the technology, it's coming from the possibilities that technology allows. And so, and what you were saying is like really that infinite possibilities. It's very much that, but even in doing that, and this is the last thing I'll say till we move on, we say infinite possibilities, and we say as far as your imagination can take us. But my greatest sadness with where AI is today, and even being in this room talking to everyone about AI. So I started working in AI before there were these rooms. There were kind of not many people aware of it. And in fact, the first AI content on television ever in Australia we created. Same as Japan. No one really knows that. This is the first time I've ever said this to anyone. And the reason for that is because when I created it, like I think 6 years ago or something, I was sure not to tell anyone because it wouldn't be put on television and there would have been great outcry. But it was a commercial for a supermarket and they needed to go into the eyeball. We didn't have much budget. How do we do it? I said, here's some AI content with the latest AI tools. Give it to the compositor, put it in there, don't tell anyone, right? Now I think it's safe to tell people. But the point I'm trying to make is back then, that wasn't really the purpose I saw for it. For me, the limitless possibilities, and we did at first start working with the limitless possibilities, became things that as the world caught up, it's almost started to regress what we were doing with it. Because the first things we did with it were almost colliding AI technology and Gen AI technology with other mediums, with other tools, making it interactive, making it talk to humans, like not directly, but in a way where you might walk, like making it physical and bringing it alive into our world. But then when everyone caught up, everyone straight away, when I say everyone, it's obviously a generalization, but like everyone went back to traditional filmmaking. The traditional edit, the traditional way of telling a story. And for me, I'm like, oh, what? We're going back to telling original stories, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's why we're seeing the slop. Because if you want to do it, the traditional filmmaking, we've already worked out how to do that great. And sorry, to finish the answer, when you talk about Christopher Nolan, you talk about James Cameron, I don't think I would imagine they don't necessarily have a problem with AI in itself either. They're just humans like everybody else, and they're great creators. And so I'm sure they love the concept of infinite possibilities. But they know how to make beautiful film, and they know how to dig deep and pull a story out of themselves. And so they just, AI really is an instrument. And, they might use that instrument, but really they're conducting an entire orchestra. And they don't need to rely on this one whole thing to do that traditional form of filmmaking. The only exception really would be James Cameron, who, like, if you watch the Avatar films, and actually this is the perfect way to round this answer, is you don't really see any actors on that film. They're all just blue people. And so you don't go to pay for that film to see Brad Pitt. And, the studios aren't saying, go see Avatar, Brad Pitt's in it, or go see Avatar, Tom Cruise is in it. They're saying, go see Avatar, there's blue people in it. Hard to sell. But he's managed to do it, and and he's managed to make billions of dollars every time he releases a new one. And it's because fundamentally he's using technology as an instrument, but he's also leading with a story. And he keeps it quite simple, his stories. He's not trying to be too profound with his stories. He's just like, here's a cause story, save the earth, save the environment. And people can understand that story, here's a story of family, and people can relate to that and go on with the journey, but then see the infinite possibilities of these worlds and see his imagination come to life.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to bring you in here, Merzin. Merzin is the head of a company that was originally Prime Focus in India. It's one of the biggest ones that we have in post-production facilities in India, and then they partnered with a global company, and you are big in the world of post-production and VFX globally. Merzin, I need a round of applause for them. They've got 10 Oscars. 10 Academy Awards.
8 Oscars.
Oh, sorry, 10 years.
Other 2 are still in the making.
Other 2, yeah. But in 10 years, right? In 10 years. I mistook the number. So in 10 years, they've got 8 Oscars. And the movies that they've produced or worked on are Dune, Part 1 and Part 2. Both of them got an Oscar. Lord of the Rings series, the two of us. He's worked with Tom Cruise and so many international celebrities and superstars that we call them. Now, and I have Vatsal also here. Vatsal, you would remember in the lovely movie Tarzan, which is still one of the biggest television properties. Every time it comes, all the children in the house sit and watch him, and even the children here were very excited to see him. So one, you both have a common point here, Merzin. I want to say that you're working with these actors, right? Yeah. Jaise ki Taran just said that what a marvelous visual it is to see Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fight with each other, but वो बात नहीं थी जो live action में होती है, right? And you worked with them, and you've reached the pinnacle of what technology can do in its field. And we have Vatsal here. I'm talking from actors' point of view. All the actors are going to Delhi High Court to get their personality rights copyrighted, right? And we all have these mobile phones पे वो videos आते हैं जिसमें सलमान और शाहरुख आपस में कुछ बात कर रहे होते हैं. सलमान का older version, सलमान का younger version आपस में बात कर रहे हैं. So the storytelling is like, we're going crazy. Anything is possible now. So one, we would like to talk about the actor's point of view, the performers, the actors. And a budding actor may not be affected by it, but globally, take 100 superstars, they would be affected by it. Vatsal, you and Merzin, you come at a common point. Merzin, you tell us what's going on there in Hollywood. What are after the Writers Guild and Actors Guild have finally won and got their rights protected, their compensations, remunerations, their copyrights and their credits. Everything is taken well care of, but we still are trying to understand as an industry what to do. The actors, technicians, everybody.
Yeah. I'm not so sure it's all taken care of. I think there's an understanding that they've reached, but still some time before it all gets taken care of, because a lot to be discovered still. As technology is moving, in the last 6 months itself, things have really changed. New models of AI are coming out. More powerful ones are coming out. So we are still seeing a lot of innovation that is happening. Storytelling, there is entertainment, there is filmmaking. It's like YouTube has a lot of cat videos. That's content, that's entertainment. You're just flipping through. It's not necessarily storytelling. And same also goes for when we are talking about the highest level of the spectrum of work that we do when we are working on a Dune or Oppenheimer or any of these kind of projects. The level of the filmmaker's vision is so high, and that attention to detail where everything is art directed, where every performance is directed by the filmmaker because he's got a vision, and that's filmmaking. And at that point, the expectation is really high, where AI is still catching up. It will get there maybe. But that human element, as we spoke about, is so strong. And that's the reason why that sets it apart from just regular AI requirements as such. So filmmaking obviously is changing. We have content on our screens, on our small screens, on our mobiles, which earlier would not have been possible. Cameras were used to be really big. Today, we're going around taking photographs. But that does not mean that the bigger cameras or the DSLRs have all gone out. It's just stepped up the game. They need to work harder. But there is a world for the iPhone camera filmmaking. There is a world for DSLRs. And of course, then there is the IMAX quality that we work on, which is extreme high resolution, where it's blown up to such high levels where every detail is visible. And so with actors also, I think, the digital avatars, we have been using digital creations for a very long time. It was just harder earlier. It's getting easier. It's getting simpler, but not with the idea of just making it faster. It's also helping us ideate and maybe iterate a lot
But
more.
Prasoon, are Hollywood actors going the way that our actors are going, copywriting their... Have they done, like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, have they done it?
I'm sure, absolutely, they would be. It's only natural, it's only, makes sense to do that. But again, it's also in their benefit, it's also in their favor. There is the ABBA Voyage that was there, which is another way of almost resurrecting the ABBA singers. It's a Broadway musical, but using highest level of technology, using AI and digital avatars to a certain level. So it opens up a whole new form of entertainment.
Wait, how? I want to know about that. If I'm an ABBA fan and I listen to the music, what is it, the new offering?
So ABBA Voyage is a Broadway musical in London, which is using a lot of technology where the singers are on stage, performing on stage. So it's a combination of a lot of AI, it's also holograms. So it's a lot of things that have been used out there. And that opens up a whole new resurrecting a lot of older actors or people who've passed away. So that's a whole different form of entertainment.
Bringing the dead actors as a part of the
And
performance.
so AI is it's like a lot of movies were not possible earlier. Like Interstellar, for example, at one time was not possible to be made. But as technology developed, we were able to be at the forefront of that, where actually working with physicists, we were able to take all the experience of physicists and apply that in making the black hole, or render a black hole of how it would be. So today that is now being used as a study for others to show how a black hole actually works. That combined with AI today, with all the information that is there with AI, you could actually make a better way of doing that. So that is where AI gets plugged in, not necessarily just does it all for it. It's not an end-to-end product, but it gets plugged in. So that's how we use AI in our whole storytelling, where it's not end-to-end AI, but it's AI is plugged in at the visualization stage, at the R&D stage. In our technology itself, there is AI, because AI was always around as machine learning earlier. The newer form of AI is branded now, or machine learning is branded now as AI. And that's how we are seeing it coming up in a lot of places.
But if you were to follow the pattern of how AI came into the US's scene of entertainment and what happened next, if you were to learn a few things, who lost out and who benefited from AI in the last 10 years in the West?
Who lost out? I don't think anybody lost out on that. Of course, there is the whole ethical use of AI is a very important part of it. As DNEG, as Prime Focus, we are also part of a consortium to actually work on ethical use of AI, because we obviously have a lot of content ourselves and we generate a lot of content. And so it's very important to use it ethically. There could be a case
I'm talking about job loss. I'm just talking about loss of employment. उस terms में अगर देखें तो
job loss, again, would be hard to say where the job loss is. Yes, there was a moment where the writers' strike happened because the writers were not, part of that whole thing, and they were using AI to write a lot of stories. I think it's, again, part of what has been mentioned already over here is that AI is a tool. You need to embrace it ethically, and it's here to stay. It's not going out. The cat's out of the bag. That's going to only evolve. It's about how everyone evolves to be able to use it, because it's going to touch our lives at every level, right? From our grocery shopping to our entertainment to banking, it's going to come in. And this is just a very small part of the whole thing. So it's like any other technology that came out with, Prasoon said a very beautiful thing about paintings and, expression of creativity. It's another tool, If computers were going to put others out of business, today computers are at a different level. Internet, same thing, Internet's been around, but ethical use of Internet, it's gone through its evolution, and so also we are. Will people lose jobs? People have to innovate, embrace it, and adapt and adopt. Or there will be job losses, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's where policy and legislation comes in very handy, which the minister talked about.
Yeah, and again, policies will come in for the ethical side of things, but the adoption and adaptation,
that is inevitable.
You have to. And every disruptive technology will face that in some shape or form at some point.
Yeah. Vatsal, would you like to talk about that? Now you also head a company, you're co-founder of a company that's working on AI content pieces, either completely end-to-end AI or just working with human force to create something creative. And you've had this illustrious career as an actor too. What kind of a frame of mind are you in? Why did you take that initiative and then that step to move into entrepreneurship and do something in AI? And what are actors feeling like?
So, to answer your first question, as an actor, I've been acting since 99. So it's been a while I've been an actor. And there's been a lot of talks that, are you worried?
The movie that you were in, Tarzan, I think it was pretty much of an AI movie. The car was humanized, the soul of a father when it goes into the car and the car becomes the hero. There was no lead actor in a way involved there too.
Yes.
So yeah.
So thank you so much. So I've been working since 99 as an actor, and a lot of people ask me that as an actor, what do you feel? I'm a very optimistic guy. And as Mr. Charles also, I saw him, he was very optimistic. The thing is that you have to look at the positive sides of AI. Today, with AI, after films, I was doing TV. So when you're doing, I probably could do 2 projects or 3 projects a year. But with AI, there's a possibility I can do 100 projects a year. There are a lot of things can happen. And when we're talking about Prismic Studios, so what happened is that me and a friend of mine, about 2 years back, we were playing around with AI, and I thought that this is an amazing use case in our industry. When you're talking about jobs, there are so many talented writers. Prasoon sir would agree with me. There's so many talented writers and directors, but unfortunately, they don't get budgets. They were never greenlit. So at Prismic Studios, what we are doing is that we are getting this young, talented pool of directors, writers, and we are giving them an opportunity. When Sir spoke about, huge films, with massive budgets, but what if a young filmmaker has a similar thought? He would never get a budget. He would always be like, no, it won't happen. Ek kaam kar do, script de do, hum ye director ko leke aayenge, produce. So that's what's happening. But with AI, there lies an opportunity. So with Prismic Studios, we are creating content, we are giving opportunity to these young writers, filmmakers, and they've come out with some amazing stuff. So we have a couple of short films which will probably release in the next month. We've shown it to a lot of people and they've really, really loved it. I mean, the other day we had a very big filmmaker over and we showed him that piece. And he's like, who's this writer? Who's written it? Who's directed it? I want to give him a hug. And we said that, sir, he had this script past almost 10 years and nobody wanted to make it. Yeah, I would actually like to show you all, because now AI is I would like to show you something which Prismic Studios made.
We'll quickly come to
okay.
first Neeraj, and then we'll start off with the slides. But yeah, carry on.
So that's what I meant, that at Prismic Studios, I always see AI as an opportunity, and when we're talking about copyrights and IP, I think it's more of the government needs to step in. For example. the OTT players, people who are showcasing it, they need to step in, because there has to be some kind of guardrail. Like as Prismic Studios, we make sure that we follow all the guidelines. But unfortunately, you see that you spoke about Sea Dance, what they came out. Now a lot of actors, they're using without their consent. But that's going to happen. Now even if I copyright myself, I still have to go to the court. I still have to fight them. But there has to be some system where it just blocks.
Yeah. So the latest legislation is like that. If somebody reports it, you have to pull it.
Yeah, but we have to report it, right? Like how in music, I think it happens. Whenever something, copyrighted goes on, it just flags off. Like on YouTube, you put something which is not your own, you get those, flags.
Yeah, so genuine concerns. I think time will tell. In a few months or a year's time, things would be a little more. Now that ministry is involved directly, and so many efforts being taken by the INB ministry and the.
I think the answer is with the AI itself.
Yeah, right. Neeraj, let me come to you. So Neeraj is a complete nerd. Neeraj is this one person who loves to play with the robots, and he has this big floor. He's the head of technology. He's the lead of technology at WPP. It's an agency that furthers brand stories and talks and works with the brands to market them in a way that would be appealing to humans, but he does it with the help of technology, not just human stories or the human intervention alone. So tell me, Neeraj, what state of mind are you in? You did something very nice with your friend. Talk about that and your perspective.
I think I'm still floating in that value system which Sir Bro spoke about. I mean, anyone who's a legend and still connecting with Zen Alpha, we call them Sir Bro now. So, so yeah, it's amazing when every leader kind of takes this transformational era into his own orbit and says, my God, this is a powerful space. I want to create something either meaningful or fancy, and like you said, tech nerd who's playing with robotics and stuff like that. But past 4 years, through a lot of mentoring, my journey is shaped up to be something which is more meaningful. So I think the mind works in that direction, and that kudos to the value system, which constantly, keeps you channelized in terms of the energy. So when I look at India, I think it's transformational space for all of us as Indian, right? A country of 1.5 billion people, we are saying there are 1 billion guys who are on mobility, who are having mobile phones, right? And we are saying there are 350 million odd guys who are on the bottom of the pyramid, where there is no access to information, which presents a massive opportunity. So when I was looking at AI, I was asking myself, why is this intelligent era restricted to affluent set of guys here? Why can't it be taken all the way to the bottom of the pyramid and empower those guys, right? The success of any government, any ministry, is to take the entire population along. That's the only way the country is going to grow. And if you see hoardings around everywhere, it's talking about inclusion. So someone who's been designing rural marketing solutions for years and years, my thought was, let's take these best of LLM platforms to the bottom of the pyramid and empower these guys to take informed decisions. Yeah? So, and that's the product I call Telephony AI. For the past 2 years, I've been going around in the forum. I've been trying to convince all our global partners, the local guys, and the startup folks. And you got to get a lot of stakeholders together, right? It's collaboration as a new leadership, as I say.
Say the name of the brand again. Tell.
So we did something for Perfetti very recently. If you followed that, where even a 100-rupee phone can call up a number and ask anything, and they will get a smart response. For now, it's to bring joy in people's life. There's just an extended comms which you designed, Cassie, G Pi, with 60% market share coming in from rural India. How do you extend that out there? But now going forward, you would see campaigns like women empowerment. You would see
talk about the visually impaired, the ones that you did for visually impaired.
Yes, there's so much I have done. I have got to cut it and tell you in bits and pieces. But all in all, what I'm trying to say is, the way you look at it, you will think of more solutions coming your way. And unless you co-create, you're never going to find that way, right? So when I was in a training at Google, and the LLM conversations were moving to LAMs, so large language models were shifting to large action models, which is multimodal AI in so many ways. So my mind started thinking that AI has got eyes now. So let's just go to a community which doesn't have one, and let's try and co-create something with them. So I had a friend of mine, a Supreme Court lawyer, very, very empowered guy, Amar Jain, runs a company called Mission Accessibility. I call him and I say, Amar, a killer solution hai. AI को आंखें मिल गई हैं, कुछ बनाते हैं आपकी community के लिए. You've been fighting for it for years and years. And Amar tells me, it's not a big deal, yaar. I already have an app which another friend of mine, a blind friend, has created, where I walk into a hotel. It just helps me. There are a lot of guys like you who pop in and who tell me that this is a conditioner, this is not a, moisturizer. It guides you like that. So I said, bro, in that sense, it's more powering, right? You don't need to wait for a guy jisko punya kamana hai to come on an app and become your eyes. But AI is going to do that. You scan anything and it talks back at you. So one of the things which we co-created was a retail shopping experience for Britannia AI. And then I met his family. I met Minakshi, Amar's wife. She's with DRDO. And then we are co-creating on a bunch of other solutions. Why not a makeup app using multimodal AI and stuff like that, right? So yeah, these are the two segments. So when I see AI, the bottom of the pyramid, you can build a lot of inclusion and drive a lot of initiatives because you are dumbing down the experience out there. And the top part of India, it's 200 million guys in India are clocking 200 Mbps on the go. So the modern day marketing has to transform with so much speeds, right? And that's what I coach. In my last Fiki segment, I was carrying a paper with my AI photo in it. I went on the stage, I asked the audience to scan it. The photo started talking in my voice and looking at me and stuff like that. And I got my first campaign going with Ranveer Singh. And I clocked 100 million in earned media. Why? Because the thought was always that India has got such fabulous creator economy, influencers. There are only two ways to engage these guys. Either you pay them money, they will create storytelling for you, or you invest in technology. And they'll wake up in the morning and they'll say, Ranveer Singh ke saath video banaya kya, right? Then I demonstrated a piece of technology. Can Ranveer Singh come out of those posters and can you co-create content with him? And I loaded my hologram, which just popped in from hoardings, from television, from print, and it was co-creating content with me, right? So it gave power to influencers to co-create content out there and released a recent campaign with Rahul Dravid for Uniqlo, with my hologram, which I was demonstrating for almost like 2 odd years. Now top celebrities are popping in. So all what I'm trying to say that 5G is not here to watch videos. 10 Mbps pe hum logon ne bahut video dekha. Binge watching here, right? What will you do at 200 Mbps? What will India do at 200 Mbps? It's going to be computing to the next level. And that's what we are focusing.
But you have a very clear social streak. Yeah, he's doing a very good job.
Some energy.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. And the best part of his work that I like is that Neeraj always thinks for the lesser privileged. He always thinks for the bottom rank. He always thinks for the ones who are not very affluent or powerful. He always wants to empower the powerless through his work. So that is something where AI becomes the hero. Where right now we're talking about what kya hoga.
And I keep saying, Atika, India is a leapfrog economy. It's not going to wait for some big tech to come and lower the headgear prices. It's going to create something on its own. Look at what we've done with the student community. Like the way we have studied heart, pulmonary vein, everything is bookish. Now with a $12 Geo device, we released a VR day for a set of kids. So they learn heart, pulmonary vein, and for 12,000 worth of investment, 10 headgears are being kept on the desk and teacher says, step forward, pehno aur dekho. Heart, pulmonary vein pops out. That education is sensational. India rukega nahi कि कोई big tech aake headgear ko sasta kar de, because computers on your head is going to be reality in no time. With so much speed, what will you do?
Yeah. And with Uber and Ola and all these things coming in, I think there has to be one app that talks about the food wastage.
Yeah.
Connects houses where here there is food being wasted, or a hotel where the food is being wasted, and just 10 kilometers away or 5 kilometers away, there is a community that is starving. In the capital, in the financial capital of Mumbai, we live in Mumbai and we see we are right next to slum. So the hugest building would be right next to slum. And I think there one technical innovation has to be in terms of...
And climate.
And climate, and deforestation, and so many things, ocean cleaning. Yeah, do you think, okay, as a layman, tell... If I'm a person who wants to talk about clean oceans, food wastage, women's safety, what can AI do for us? Or can AI do something for these causes?
I think AI has got something to offer for all problems which we are grappling with as Indians. But unless you co-create, you are just living in your own bubble and you are trying to create something. Look at me, if I don't have a single friend who cannot see, I don't know their world. For all you know, I can just go and create, and application, but I have not co-created with the community out there. I go out there and spend so much time with rural folks, right? Consumer research, we call it, right? All CMOs, when Ajay Dang used to tell me, "Arey blonde बाल करके आया है, इसको पहले गांव में भेजो, उसको बोलो बात करके आया है, फिर जाके co-create करे solutions," right? So ये सब किया मैंने. Unless you meet the community and grapple with the problems they are facing, you're never going to come out with a solution. One of the insights which was in Bihar, English is a big craze, right? So एक concept बनाया हमने जहाँ पे से रवि किशन English सिखाएंगे लोगों को. सुप्रभात को English में कहते हैं good morning, beep के बाद आप बोले good morning. So the guy will say good morning with some diction. Yeah, I can do it for you. Next day morning, सरपंच जी good morning. बंदा बोलेगा किसने सिखाया तेरे को? सेंटर फ्रूट ने सिखाया. So 100 रुपए के फोन पे भी आप एडवोकेट्स बना सकते हो, एक प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर सकते हो. जब तक वो करोगे नहीं, तब तक इट इज जस्ट अ स्टोरी. लाइक आप रोड ब्लॉक्स खरीदते रहो. You know, with so much clutter, you need to come up with a creative story, and the brands are already taking that path, right? To solve for a lot of problems which we are grappling with. Look at India's AdX. There's big money out there. So I keep going to a lot of creators. See, when VR launches or XR launches, and I keep telling people, brands, that you need to have your XR strategy for first-party database which you are collecting, because the world is moving towards an ID-less environment. सब अपना consumer का data बना रहे हैं. अब on that consumer data which you have, lot of guys are on elevated speeds. You cannot have modern-day marketing relaying the same video ads out there. So stuff like that. I think co-creation is the way to go. You need to get too many people, and it's a complex environment. You need to collaborate and get a lot of guys together to make one project work. It doesn't happen overnight. When you see a Britannia AI, it's 1 year of R&D conversations, or if you see Telephony AI, it's 2 years of R&D conversations, getting stakeholders together.
It spells like A-E-Y.
Yeah, so it's classic VML creativity, so AI. I think one of the first creative campaign which we ever did, Prasoon, was Young Sachin. Did you follow that? So when our leaders said that, yaar, ye tech nerd hai, and VML का मुकुंद creative officer, ये creative nerd है. Let's get the worlds to collide. इनको एक room में बैठा देते हैं. तो this मुकुंद tells me, I'm working on an insurance comms, और मुझे ऐसा comms नहीं बनाना है कि मैं public को डरा रहा हूँ. Insurance ले लो, मर गया तो family का क्या होगा? तो मैंने बोला क्या करना है तुझे? He said, I have Sachin, मुझे कुछ progressive बनाना है. तो बोला brilliant, सचिन को बना देते हैं Zen Alpha, वो टीवी पे जाके बोलेगा मैं अपने फ्यूचर से डरा नहीं, मैंने अपने फ्यूचर के लिए प्रेप किया, और एजिस फेडरल भी आपके लिए यही करता है. Simple one-liner, because two people came together who are living in different planet. For me to create a clone is a cakewalk. This is pre-GPT era, by the way. There were no GPT models. Consumer was not elevated. Not everyone was writing such great English emails and chats. But yeah, this is pre-GPT era, and this happened. And Sachin loved the render, loved the output. If you show meaningful work to these top celebs you deal with, they fall in love with it. Obviously, you've got to find a way to regulate stuff, and that's why we've got the amazing legal leadership in all organizations who have made it so easy for us now. One legal paper, don't even need the celeb, just sign off, take your money, and I elevate modern day marketing like never before with so much creativity out there.
Yeah. I think this is brilliant. This is the time to get in the videos. Could you line them up? The videos that they've come up with, right? So can you show them? There are 3 of them.
Speaking in another forum, which is...
Oh, you have to leave?
Yeah.
Okay. So Neeraj has to leave. Thanks a lot, Neeraj.
Thank you, guys.
Great
Thank you.
having you on the panel.
Getting into another room, so if you want, you can join it.
बहुत ज्ञानी आदमी है आप. Are you ready for the videos?
Manipulative way, this finally the woman can't resist. She says, okay, I have to meet you. And he has a smile that he's finally coming to meet. But she comes to meet and tell him that I am not choosing you. I want to tell you that. Because I am with a transparent, honest man, and I would not choose you over and above him, because that's what my value system is. Now, this decision has come from a value system. Now, where is AI going to be anchored in to take such critical decisions when it comes to such dilemmas is what Atika ji was talking about.
Yeah, आपने वो लास्ट लाइन नहीं बोली कि वो कहती है कि उसके अंदर लव और इनोसेंस है और तुम्हारे अंदर मैनिपुलेशन है. Hence, you are good at what you do, you are good at quoting a woman, but he is the man I would go with. So this is where we stand, कि whether to, the ethical.
The ethical set.
Last line is something which AI is difficult to judge. इसका देखा ना कि इसमें ये है और इसमें ये है. वो एक लास्ट लाइन है वो जो AI नहीं कर पाती.
Exactly. So where, because that's where the anchoring is required.
Yeah.
किसी ने कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन मांगी, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन कहाँ तक, किसी बच्चे ने आपसे कुछ सवाल किया तो आप उस बच्चे को एक तरह से उसका आंसर देते हैं. You tell the child in a way, your entire system works and says, oh, this child is asking me this question, and you have a way of telling the child. Now that is coming from your basic nature of protecting the child. That इसको इतना बताना है, इतना नहीं बताना है, क्योंकि इसकी ये उम्र है. Now all this is anchored in a value system and the way you filter what you say. Now I think such questions will become very important, because AI for me is not just a technology, and especially AGI, where you're talking about general intelligence, you're getting into the deep root. It's not that the films are talking about AI and engineering is not talking, or farming is not talking. AI is going to impact, AGI is going to impact everything we do. It's going to the root cause, sort of where everything emanates from, the human intelligence equivalent. So we'll have to have similar questions which we have for human civilization for AI.
So this is the human story behind AI. Now let's talk technicals. Sushant, I want to talk to you about the first, I guess it was very surprising for all of us that an entire content piece was out there on Jio Hotstar by the name of Mahabharat, and it was, no actors were involved, nothing was involved, completely AI based. And that was a good USP also, very good selling point. It's a completely AI project. I want to ask you, and there is this data about AI can be used in deciding what films get greenlit too. So apparently Warner Brothers partnered with Cinelytic, and tools like Scriptbook create box office projections and story notes. So I want to ask you, how much has Jio Hotstar in a way kind of warmed up to AI? How much is it involved in the workflow? And
so keeping AI out of it, that is there for, whether it is for music, it is for lyrics, it's for every movie. So copyright and IP has been around. So there are rules that have evolved and have matured over time. And so also over here, and just on Vatsal's note, that everything cannot depend on if you spot it, only then should it be, and go through that effort. There will be tools and technology will have to step up, and AI will have to come in to spot AI, because already ChatGPT has that burnt in, where there is a watermark of some sort, where you can make out it's a part of that or no. And, it's like my son and daughter used to pick up separate tools, first to write it, and then there was another tool to actually see if there was plagiarism in any of that. So, things have been there in smaller forms. Now it's getting more mature. And so also all of these things will come in. But the IP, like we said, it is Ajay's IP, and that's him. So that will stay with him forever. And that's how it is for every actor. And that's why we are in a position today to be able to utilize them. And we use that, again, in visual effects. It's always been there, where we're doing action sequences. You can't use the actor. So you are always using a stunt double, or you're using a complete CG character. And so also now with AI, you can extend that further, like what we did for here, where Tom Hanks was de-aged. It's Tom Hanks, it's his IP, it's his creation. The model that we have of him, which is trained now, is him and can be used by him for his other movies. So it just may be with us as an asset, but still belongs to the...
And what about the gods? Like, for example, your company is working on Ramayan.
Yes.
Sushant, you have Mahabharat. Now, Bal Tanaji might be an IP with Ajay, but Tanaji cannot be an IP with anybody because he was a real historical figure. So when we talk about the gods or the prophets or the mythological
stay
figures...
away from the word God. I will come back to the, the text, Ramayan, cannot be copyrighted. It's one of those things that it's always been there. It's been made in 3 other languages. You can't use something from maybe those projects, but if it's Mahabharat, it is a Mahabharat, So it is a different rendition of that, and wherever that copyright lies, that, these texts, as I believe, don't have full-on copyright. But if you take something like a J.K. Rowling story or Lord of the Rings or any of those, now those are with that IP lies with the writer. Then comes the filmmaker who makes that IP. That's the second level of IP. I'm sure the music on that also has its own copyright. So there are different levels, and there are... Okay,
another query. If there was a director who's making a series on freedom struggle, and it's a series, Sushant, and we have Gandhiji, we have Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Sarojini Naidu, and there are figures, they have children.
But have they been registered?
Okay.
Then it's a different thing.
Have they been registered?
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's a copyright. Someone has to own the right. If no one owns it, then it's in the public domain.
So their families have to have their ancestors' personality rights registered? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not the complete author on that.
We're going to get into that zone very soon, maybe 2 years.
But something like, let's say, for any of the public figures, if you don't portray them in the wrong way, and a lot of movies you've got some of these public figures in them, it not necessarily comes under IP as such. But yes, if you have a whole movie made on them and whatever, and it's got certain references, then there is, then there could be a problem. But I'm not the authority on that, so I cannot comment further.
I think it's amazing that we are already having this conversation. It almost feels like the dewy dawn of AI, and we're already discussing, who owns what. I think this is going to be a phase where, the innovation is not going to be stifled by us spending this time on defining the guardrails and the swim lanes. I think as somebody said, the cat's out of the bag already. And I think the notion of what constitutes IP and what constitutes rights, I think there are enough parallels. In all of art and literature and history, I think there has, just take music for example. I mean, there is a publishing right, and then there are master rights for every iteration, for every derivative that gets created. So I'm sure this is not, this is not something that's not been solved before. I think obviously we are very quickly seeking, and it's natural that we are seeking some sort of control and solace in being able to understand what this AI capability is unleashing and unlocking. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, you could use all of the IP protected figures and artworks, but if what you're ultimately saying is not deeply invigorating and deeply moving, there just won't be any consumer value to it.
Hotstar's own IP was with somebody else. So we are in that zone where just one word is worth $1 million, right? And
I think the barometer of this is going to be not how well we are able to utilize tools and IP capabilities, but how good a story we're able to tell. Mahabharata has been a fantastic, I mean, it still continues to be released weekly. It's actually been one of our top shows, but that has very little to do with the fact that it was done with AI. Consumers genuinely loved it. So I think we can throw all the tools at the problem, but if we don't have a good story to tell and an imaginative way of telling it, all the tools in the world, I mean, the best chisel or the best paintbrush can't create, what Leonardo da Vinci could.
Da Vinci. Can we play the other 2 videos, please? This is Tyrone's company. What the lessons that you've learned after Mahabharat, which is a complete end-to-end AI product, do you think audience really cares? What we want to know is, do you think, like for example, in India, people don't see animation projects as real movies. They call them cartoons. They still don't see them as popular movies. Do people care in the world of entertainment, your viewers, whether this project is completely AI based or humans have been involved?
Now, that's, first of all, thanks a lot for moderating this, Atika. Good afternoon, everybody. I think there's a bunch of questions in what you framed. Let's start at the beginning and see if we can peel our way into it. There's largely been two big revolutions when it comes to technology in India so far. There was the Industrial Revolution, and then there was the Internet Revolution. The last 20-25 years was predominantly about building infrastructure capabilities that provided access, low data costs, low device cost, and wide distribution. I think the next 20-30 years, I think it's going to be about imagination. When we move from infrastructure to imagination, it's interesting, we just finished a year of Geo Hotstar yesterday. And one of the hallmarks that we had set for ourselves, it's interesting how that can sometimes be topical, was we wanted to provide our audiences infinite possibilities.
So we started a brand within Alt VFX, which is called TADA. It's an acronym for Technology and Design Agency. And we formed that 10 years ago because when you work in visual effects, as you would know, it is an industry now. Like visual effects sort of formed to be visual effects, essentially, any visual effects company is a technology company. And, when I came into the industry, first thing I thought was, why wasn't I in this industry sooner? And that's when later I realized the reason for it is because it was invented when Star Wars was invented, and I was still a child. And so it is, like technology with film and creativity has moved so quickly. Yeah. But with Star Wars, it was the advent of trying to create technology to tell stories. And really AI is just the next chapter in that story.
Absolutely.
So working in a large visual effects studio, it's kind of become an industry now. And so now you have people whose career are somewhere in the pipeline of making visual effects. So you'll have someone whose whole career is to composite a shot or to light a shot or to model characters. And it is actually quite hard to, and I call it, it's almost like I use a metaphor of like having a fast train and a slow train. And so sometimes a big company is just a slow moving beast. And if you come in and say, here's a story, let's break things, and we know AI, even talking copyright law, is very much the Wild West. There is almost a stagnant inability to move the whole company forward. So we created TADA within the business to be able to break things, and we're sort of the punks within our industry. And we sit somewhere in between filmmaking and the advertising world. So we do a lot of things. So basically everything there has been sort of in the last sort of 10 years just doing strange things with AI. And as I mentioned before, a lot of it is interactive. Some of it's filmmaking. In fact, probably very little on that video is the filmmaking side of things. Just for IP and stuff, I can't really show it just at the moment. But we're working with a lot of big film directors at the moment to try to find new languages and new stories to tell. But what we've done is empowered. Like for instance, the Cadbury thing, I think we released over 2 years, 1 million commercials into the world where people were starring